Get this. This is... Oof. A gravedigger in West Virginia dug up a corpse of a baby buried over 40 years ago. Then he tossed the casket down a hill, which sent the skeletal body flying through the air as the lid opened. Yes, Matthew Fortner, 49. He was digging a plot for a new grave at Bayless Cemetery in Salt Rock, West Virginia, when he allegedly unearthed the casket, which was buried in 1982. Imagine that. The kid was buried when Little Ditty about Jack and Diane. That was a brandy new tune when the poor little kid was put in the ground. The heartless ghoul, as they're calling him, then dumped the casket over a hillside. The baby's corpse was thrown from the coffin. I apologize for laughing. It's just all I think about is like Poltergeist. You didn't move the bodies. It rolled down the grass, cops said, like the beginning of Little House on the Prairie, you know, when they're running down the hill and right. So a couple decorating gravestones in anticipation of Easter witnessed the horrifying defilement and called the sheriff's office. It takes a sick individual, in my opinion, to desecrate a grave and mess with a corpse, period. That was Cable County Sheriff Doug Adams, not too fond of this Fortner gentleman and his antics. Fortner was arrested in connection to the incident. He's charged with disinterment or displacement of a dead body or part thereof, and damage to a cemetery or graveyard. Also violating protection of human skeletal remains. There's a lot of laws about not screwing with dead people. He's being held on $105,000 bond and faces up to 5 years in prison if convicted. See, this is what gets me. I know, look, this is a heinous thing. With the way it's described, a little baby skeleton flying out down a grassy hill in a cemetery. It's horrifying. I get it. But I think people have killed other people, living people, and not had to come up with $105,000 bond or faced 5 years in prison. It's terrible. The image is horrible. And if you're the parent of a baby, I would assume, you put that to it. You're starting to think, that's pretty awful. To dig up, who else are you getting? Who else are you getting to dig graves in a cemetery with like a hand shovel? It's not even, modern cemeteries. They bring the backhoe in at night. No one ever sees it. They put that AstroTurf over the dirt pile, even though we know what it's there for. So he faces up to 5 years, $105,000 bond. Now, here's a weird part here. Previously, Fortner was convicted of murder in 1997 and sentenced to life with mercy in prison. I've never heard of this one. That was in 1999. He was released in 2008. So what, 9 years after getting life with mercy for murder, he gets out of prison, and I guess the only gig he can get is digging up cemetery plots. I don't know. I might have to look up what this guy did, what the murder was. That might change my opinion all the way with this dude. The child's corpse was taken to the state's medical examiner's office in Charleston. Why? It's dead. I don't understand why you would have to take the skeleton to the medical examiner. They're dead already. Well, look, I'm absolutely repulsed by this, but is the crime worthy of a 6-digit bail bond and 5 years in prison? I don't think so. Oddly enough, I kind of put it in the same category as, I don't know, maybe certain types of bestiality. All right, slow down. Let me explain myself. While absolutely heinous, Is it really a crime per se? Does the animal want to press charges? It's like this. I don't think the skeleton from 1982 really cares that you dug him up and rolled his skeleton down the hill. I'm not implying that bestiality is anything but terrible. But, is it really? I guess I'm legally obligated to say this now. The views expressed by the Anthony Cumia Show are solely those of the Anthony Cumia Show and do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station. Be right back.
WABC New York and 107.1 WLIR-FM Hampton Bays. Anthony Cumia Show.
Whipping out the First Amendment and holstering the Second.
And again, we're asking, when do you cross the line?
And just like that, another week is in the books, and we're back. Sunday night, the Anthony Cumia Show. Glad you could make it. I can't really tell if you did, but I'm assuming you did, and I'm glad for that. Yeah. Another, bat crap. Could say that. Bat crap week of insanity going on in the world. I look around. I watch the news. I see what's happening in the world. And it's a little tough to deal with sometimes. But I honestly think we live in a parallel universe with a whole nother group of people that have nothing to do with the way we think and act and anything else. Two completely separate countries right in the same spot. There's America, and then there's some other America that people occupy the same real estate, the same structures, but their entire take on how we think and act is completely different. And I've heard this from people when you say things like this. They say, you're black-pilled. You're just pessimistic about everything. And you don't understand that we've always gone through these separate opinions and whatnot during the years in America. And I agree to a point. I mean, we could look back at a lot of instances where we were completely separated by ideology. I remember when I was a young tyke, the Vietnam War. That was a real country breaker. There were people that were completely behind it, thought it was the greatest thing we could do, fight communism, wherever it is. The domino theory, you let one of these countries fall and the rest go right behind it. So I get that we've been divided as a nation for quite some time, but like this, really? Has it ever felt like we are truly occupying the same space, but not the same dimension with some of these people? Because I don't even see them as the opposition anymore. I see them as aliens, as sci-fi monsters, as mental patients. They don't seem to have anything to do with America as a country. They don't seem to want to live in a country like America based on those ideals and laws, rules, ethics, just the way we act and have acted for many years. And I don't mean not having lively debate, but it's like you're debating with someone who's never lived in this country and has no clue why we're even called Americans. And that's the real thing that's a little boggling here. Back in the olden days, like I was saying, Vietnam, you could have a construction worker, the hard hats, they called them, and a filthy hippie, those filthy, dirty hippies. And they would disagree on a lot of things. But I remember there were one or two things they could agree on. You might disagree on things like the Vietnam War, race relations in the country. And then you could completely agree on the economy, let's say, or maybe you both didn't like Nixon. There isn't even the slightest bit of agreement now on anything. There is not one thing, because it's almost like if you agree with anything that this other dimension that occupies the same space in this country, that you're agreeing with everything, that you are giving them an upper hand by saying anything that you have in common with them. You are giving them an upper hand, and that can't be done. So you need to disagree with everything. And it would be better if it was on purpose, like, oh, I have to disagree with this person just because I'm on the other team. But it's not even that. They honestly believe this. Both sides don't want to agree with the other side because they believe that they are completely separated from the thinking of that opposition, the other side. Now, obviously, if you're on one of those sides, you're going to think you're right. And it's very, very hard for us to pull back and not be so myopic, get the big picture. People always say you live in a bubble whenever you talk about what you feel passionate about and what your take is on whatever topic. And it's like, oh, you just live in a bubble. It's like, not everyone does. Some people do. I get that. They don't even want to look at the opposition. I know I look at what the other side is saying. I see what they're doing on a daily basis. And I don't agree with them. I have a very hard time trying to see their point of view because it just looks insane. It sounds crazy. As a rational person, and I swear, obviously people have listened to me for years, maybe Googled if they're new to the Anthony Cumia Show and go like, wow, okay, this guy's been through some stuff. But I definitely believe I am rational. I can look at certain things and say, that's bad or that's crazy. And I think I have a good eye for that. I look at the other side and these liberals, we saw them this weekend. This nonsense, this hands-off thing. They're insane. These are not rational people that you could stand in front of, sit down in front of, and have a logical, reasonable debate with about what their feelings are about what's going on in the country, what they think would make a better country, why they're so angry at people like Donald Trump and Elon Musk. I can say why I'm mad at Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, George Soros, what these people have done and are continuing to do to our country. I can give you a reasonable debate as to why I don't like those guys. And it's proven. It's not this emotional, just going off on some tear of emotion. George Soros has financed judges and district attorneys in this country that have a complete liberal political agenda and don't care so much about the rule of law and justice as they do about getting an agenda across. And that is proven. We could come up with things. New York State alone. People like Letitia James that ran on a platform that I will find something to put Donald Trump in jail for. And that's not the job of an attorney general or district attorney to pick someone and go, let me find a crime that they did. I think everyone knows that. So you could come up with reasons why you don't like these people and why you feel they're detrimental to the country. Anytime you get into a discussion with these liberals, they don't have any reasonable debate as to why they're so bad. They're just so mad about everything based on pure emotion and some type of mental illness. I've seen so many interviews with people that were at these hands-off protests this weekend, and my God, they just seem insane. I think there's one kid here. Let's get this because it's a hands-off protester. He's asked what he's protesting for, why he's there. Give me an answer why you're so passionate that you felt you should show up here. Listen to this guy because it's insane.
What are we protesting today?
Donald Trump.
Well, what's Donald Trump doing that we're protesting?
Well, he is f***ing up the American democracy right now and trying to kind of repeal a bunch of Constitution, like, rights and liberties. So,
is there anything in specific that he's...
I don't have all the information, but I do know.
What are you against?
Personally, I'm against tyrants. I'm against tyranny. That's what I'm against.
What is that?
Somebody who's coming in and trying to take over the country and get rid of the rules and regulations that have existed for centuries to keep us citizens safe.
And who do you think is doing that?
Currently, Donald Trump and Elon Musk and all of his cabinet members.
Why Elon Musk, though?
The Department of Government Efficiency, he was put in charge of a department that doesn't even exist before this, and he's not even an American.
Who's not an American?
Elon Musk.
Okay.
He's from South Africa. I don't know if you knew that.
All right.
How do you feel about Donald Trump?
Heard enough of that guy. Yeah, he's not even an American. Boy, you didn't think you'd hear a lib saying stuff like that. But, he sounds like a sweet boy anyway. But they don't know why. They just say he's against democracy. He's against this. Hands off. And what it turns out to be is they don't know why they're there. It's a party. It's a get together for them. Oh, we should show up somewhere. And I think a lot of them were paid by people like George Soros and people like George Soros. But they show up, they got signs, they got 1,000 different agendas. It's gay rights, trans rights, climate change, anti-Trump, anti-Elon, anti-capitalism. They're communists, they're socialists, they're holding up different signs. Israel, Palestine. They can't get together on one thing. They're all fractured, but they're there because, hey, people told us to show up, and it's a party, isn't it? I got more to say about this, and we will talk more about this tonight. Also, of course, coming up, Clown of the Week. Who gets the title? And from the Sopranos, Robert Funaro. He played, of course, that poor bastard Eugene Pontecorvo. And, of course, your phone call. So stick around. We'll be right back.
This is the Anthony Cumia Show.
I love that guy. Anthony Cumia Show. Thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate it. Stick around, of course. Robert Funaro. Is it Funaro? There's an A or an E. He's a paisan. That's all right. I'm Cumia. Well, through my life, I heard Cumia. And then there were the things people said during recess that were very cruel with the first three letters of my last name. I'll just say that. But, of course, Eugene from The Sopranos, he'll be up in minutes. Don't miss that. I know a lot about, I think people know I know a lot about The Sopranos. So it's going to be a lot of fun talking with Robert. Clown of the Week right now.
The Anthony Cumia Show presents the Clown of the Week.
Whoa. Wacky. Clown of the Week. Boy, every week it gets tougher and tougher to find one person, whittle down one person, focus that magnifying glass onto one person to receive the prize of being called Clown of the Week, because it's insane out there. This week, of course, Cory Booker. That's who we got. Cory Booker. Cory Booker set a record for filibuster. For those of you that don't know what a filibuster is, it's when a politician gets up to the podium and babbles incessantly, nonstop for hours and hours, saying nothing, but setting a record. It's like, open the Guinness Book of World Records. Hey, there's that fat guy in the piano case coffin, or the two fat twins riding the mini bikes. It's that. It's a contest. You're not saying anything. You're not helping a cause. You're just sitting there setting a record. And Cory Booker, he's a senator from the great state of New Jersey. He decided he's going to get up there and speak for, I believe it was 25 hours, 5 minutes, beating Strom Thurmond. Way back, I think it was 1951, Strom Thurmond set this record, 24 hours, 18 minutes, as he filibustered to try to prevent the Civil Rights Act. He was a Democrat. Let's not get crazy here, folks. Strom was definitely a Democrat and had a few skeletons in his closet dressed in white robes, those skeletons. But Cory Booker, he beat that 25 hours, 5 minutes of just rambling nonsense. Because that's all it is. And I love that the news people, of course, again, the propaganda news media gets out there and they start talking about how brave and courageous and articulate and amazing what things he was saying. No, it's like the old dancing contest they used to have back in the old days. You set a record. Congrats. Let's listen to Cory, though, because here's another thing. He went on Instagram to try to be profound. Listen to this nonsense.
I think the worst kind of amnesia is to forget our history, to forget our ancestors and all the grit and guts, resiliency and resolve it took to get us to where we are today. So if you're feeling knocked over right now, if you're feeling beat down by all the outrageous things happening, remember what Fannie Lou Hamer said. If I fall, I'm going to fall 5 feet 4 inches forward. I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to give up in the cause of freedom.
Not if you get belted in the face. That'll knock you backwards. You don't always fall forward. They always try to seem so profound, especially Cory Booker. All these politicians want to have like I have a dream moment. They think everything they say is going to be in a history book in 100 years, but they don't have that profound mindset. They don't have the ability to speak eloquently. And everyone knows at this point, everything is so politically motivated that really, you believe that? Evoking your ancestors is the thing to do. And talking about how awful things are, like you're getting through this hardship. Are we really going through hardships in 2025? Is it that difficult for everybody? In spite of Cory Booker and his ilk, it isn't as bad as people would imagine it is. There are problems that need to be swept up, but it's not quite as bad as everybody likes to imagine. So Cory Booker takes the prize this week as Clown of the Week. He's always in contention, isn't he? Don't go anywhere. In moments, right after this break, actually, Robert Funaro, I'll ask him, is going to join us from The Sopranos. We'll be back in moments. Anthony Cumia Show.
Whipping out free speech.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Yep, Anthony Cumia Show on this Sunday evening. Great to be here. Thank you for listening and giving me your support. I do appreciate it. The guest tonight, I mean, I've told everybody up there in New York at the station, I said, any Sopranos people you could get me, please get me. I've spoken to a few in the past on my previous programs and whatnot, and I am a huge fan of the show, more so than anybody. People go, oh, no, I'm a fan too. Nah, I've watched the damn thing 20 times over. And Robert Funaro, how are you, my friend?
Anthony, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me on your show. I'm doing fine.
I love it. You, of course, were Eugene Pontecorvo on The Sopranos, and a peripheral character until that members only episode, which is just so pivotal. It's a pivotal episode to the entire series.
Yeah.
You were of course in that episode featured, but a lot of things happened in that episode. That's the episode. It was the first episode of season 6, and Tony gets shot at the end of that episode by Uncle Junior. So a lot was going on there, but your storyline was pretty pivotal. But here's something else. You were a standout character in so many things, memorable events of the show. When you smashed the bottle into little Paulie's face.
What'd you say?
It's one of the best, memorable, funny moments. Yeah. And again, only The Sopranos could do those violent moments and have them hysterically funny. But you always popped up in moments like that. And busting balls never seems to work, does it, Robert?
Oh, never does. Yeah, both those episodes are really pivotal into the my time on The Sopranos. But up until members only, it was that Snapple bottle. People would come up to me and it's a nice shot, and I said, will I be remembered? I studied Shakespeare. I did all this classical. I'll be remembered by a Snapple bottle. So when I got the script for members only, when David called me up, because he called everybody up and he said, I got good news and bad news. And what's the good news, David? Well, the good news is we wrote this show and it's all about you and you're a big part of the show. And what's the bad news? You're dead.
yeah.
But, when I read the script, what came to mind was, and I don't compare myself with Marlon Brando, but he talked about Waterfront. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody. It's the way people felt that, they could have been somebody. So I felt like with Eugene, he wanted to get out. How many people want to get out, especially nowadays from what they're doing, especially with all the 401k. I wish I got out. Could I got out prior to all this stuff? But anyway, so I knew that it would be a show that people would be remembered and they would feel the pain that I felt. And of course they went through it already. So it was such a great, episode and storyline for you, because it showed this hope that maybe you could get out of the situation you were in, and the delusion of somebody thinking, I could just leave. I could just pick up and leave. I have money. You were given that inheritance, a couple of $1 million, and you think, well, as long as I have the money, I can just start a new life. But you got yourself in so deep that there was no getting out. Well, Terry Winter, who won the Emmy Award for that particular episode that year, for the best dramatic episode. I was glad to, really blessed to be a part of it. they just kept on creating things like my son with the drugs and everything, making kind of like the walls close in on me. And so they kept like, oh, we'll get a new thing for you to do before you hang yourself. So, okay. So it was just like really a lot of pressure, under pressure.
Yeah. To fit that into one episode, because obviously you were there, from, I think, season 3.
Yes.
Was it?
Yeah.
You were there. But, season 6, episode 1, your storyline really picks up and then comes to fruition by the end of the episode. It's the end of you.
Yes.
Or the end of Eugene, of course.
Yeah.
Did you have any issues with the script going, well, you're kind of wrapping it up pretty quickly here?
Well, no, I mean, the thing was, it was a great script, Anthony. And as I said in the example of Waterfront, I knew that I'd be remembered for people can empathize with this kind of person, with Eugene. And a lot of people come up to me and the first thing they say, he should have let you out, should have let you go to Florida. So, I mean, this is what happens. But we didn't know about Tony getting shot. So the scripts are really kept very clandestinely. Right. And there were no leaks. So I didn't even know myself until I watched it that Tony was going to get shot. So.
Yeah, you know what? Another thing is that people don't realize is because Tony's the bad guy in that episode going, come on, let Eugene go with his wife and go to Florida.
What are you, a hockey player?
Yeah.
Well, what are you, hockey? What are you, Wayne Gretzky? You don't retire from this thing of ours.
Yeah, nice.
Thank you. It was, they don't understand. It wasn't just Tony. The FBI, who you had already flipped, you'd gone to the FBI, they told you, give up on the Florida dream. Yeah, but everyone, for some reason, everyone thinks Tony was the one that kept you from going to Florida. But even if he said, okay, you were never getting out from under the FBI.
No, I mean, people come up to me, Anthony, and say, you were a rat. And I tell them, no, I wasn't a rat because nothing I ever said implicated Tony. I killed myself. You know what I'm saying? I didn't stool out on the guy. I wasn't a stool pigeon. But many people come up to me and say, you shouldn't have said anything. I didn't say nothing. I didn't do anything. It's crazy here in New York City. These fans are crazy, these Soprano fans.
Believe me, I understand this. And every time I read stuff, because you always get questions about the last episode, you get questions about things that happened during the entire series. And the answer a lot of the actors and people involved in the show give is, well, it was in the script. It was written that way. But there is this element where I think the person that played the character and put that much work into developing the character can make these assumptions on what might have happened that wasn't in the show based on your knowledge of the character himself. And I want to ask you a question that kind of goes on those lines. What do you think was the most likely reason Eugene would have flipped?
Well, to get out. I mean, that was the only way to get out. He would get a witness protection program like some of the people we know. I won't name names, but that was that was the thing. They could get him out and he would flip, but it wasn't going to happen. So in that case, he was going to. In that case, when he found that out, then that was it. But, a lot of this stuff I talk about in the homemade book, the recipe book. And
please. Yes. Don't let me stop you. Okay. Go ahead.
So I talk about how I met James. We did Streetcar Named Desire, 8-9 years prior to Sopranos.
Right.
And we toured Scandinavia. And one day came down to Caroline's, found out where I was working, and through a friend at the comedy club, went up to him at a party, said, I get a job for your friend, Bobby Funaro. And he came down, he went with Joe Fay, his driver, and he knew I was at a comedy club, but he tried 3 or 4 of them until he found me at Caroline's. He couldn't remember the club. And he offered me an audition. And from then on, in 2000, I began working on the show. I landed a role. He couldn't promise me anything, but he said, I'll get you the audition. So he sent the elevator down, as Jack Lemmon said. But all these things are in homemade, but in the book that I wrote, and they're coupled with great Italian recipes, So, and I talk about I took 8 episodes and I kind of put them together because I'm really not a writer. And when Andrew Jedlicka, my manager, who co-wrote the book, said, let's do a book, I said, you're crazy. Another book by a soprano or an actor, it's nuts. So if I can bookend it, I'll pick 8 episodes. I'll talk about the Sopranos and I'll couple it with a recipe, and it's simple and it's interesting.
Do you have Mario Battelli's green beans and Parmesan? Oh, Tony the gnocchi, you gotta have.
I got a copy for you too. I left it at the studio here.
Thank you. I'll
Yes.
pick that up this coming weekend. I'm going up to New York. You a New York guy?
Yes, I am. Brooklyn born, Coney Island, and then
Okay.
moved over to Staten Island.
You are New York. What'd you do early days in the city? You mentioned Caroline's. I used to go there when I was doing the O&A show and all the comics would do our show. Caroline's was great.
Yeah, it was great, and it's closed. It's just such a shame. It really is. It was a landmark. Yeah. And they let it close. I couldn't believe it. It's all about money, Anthony. It's always about that. But it should have never happened.
The scuttle.
It was Broadway, Broadway. And the comedians were great. Charles Fleischer, Seinfeld came in from time to time. And, great. Dave Chappelle, Jim Gaffigan, Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon, right. Jimmy Fallon. Yeah. I knew Jimmy Fallon when he had a guitar and his tail between, trying to get his set. He just, I knew him before he blew up,
Which is hilarious because he looks like a kid now.
Yeah.
When you saw him back in those days, it's like a 12-year-old was walking around trying to,
I gotta tell you,
comedy and stuff.
Yeah, he was just like, he had his guitar and he's so nice. He was so nice. Then I saw him on the set because I did one of his first films and they cut me out too. I'm going to get him for that. Yeah. I did a little small spot and I can't believe I knew this guy and he let him cut me out.
Bastards.
Yeah.
That's how it is though. You've been in it. You know how, you know how that
But
works.
us Italians, Anthony, we got loyalty and trust. We don't do these things.
You're right. You're right. It's all about loyalty, trust, family, these things. It is, I guess that was the reason that David Chase chose so many Italians to play Italians in The Sopranos.
Yeah. I mean, it's really a metaphor for, if you watch this documentary, which is good.
Yeah, I did.
Yep. I mean, it's really a metaphor for his whole entire life, but he used Tony Soprano as an example of his life. It's ironic. Of course, he wrote for Northern Exposure and everything, but it's everything he went through, the therapist and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not saying I don't know anything about that, but I know that, Tony, even though he had all that stuff, he was still miserable.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get over it,
I would defy anybody to be able to write a character like Livia Soprano without having lived somebody like that.
Yes.
You can't just pull that out of thin air. That was an amazingly horrific character in the series.
Jules Pfeiffer, the great writer, he just passed away. He wrote some plays. He has this one piece in this play called Hold Me. It's about a person. It's called Pulitzer Prize. He did this. He won the Pulitzer Prize, and his father was never impressed. And then he says, I won the Nobel Peace Prize. My father dropped dead. Who says you can't win them all? It's like Tony Soprano and Livia,
Yeah. Well, there's so many subtle lines in that show that harken back to other things. When Livia used to go, "Oh, poor you." And then when Tony turns to Carmela during their big argument, that Emmy Award-winning argument, and he goes, "Oh, poor you." Like those little things. And you catch these on the third, fourth viewing of the entire series, which I'm honest with you. It may be 10, 11 times. I lost count how many times I watched all the way through. And you always catch little things like, oh, I didn't realize that connected to this. And that kind of goes into something else I wanted to ask you. You initially tried out, or they wanted you for Ralph Cifaretto. What happened there?
I auditioned for Ralph Cifaretto. So when I did Stanley and with James, and he played Mitch. So that Stanley that I did, because he was antagonistic Stanley, and James thought of me for Ralph Cifaretto. So I landed the role and I signed the contract. But then when we started shooting, there was a chemistry that, and finally David said, you're just too nice guys.
Wow.
And he didn't like the chemistry, and they tried they started graying my hair to make this contrast because we're two big guys, and it just didn't work. That antagonistic thing. So they chose Joe Pantaleone, who was great, and then David said, you still want to be on the show? Of course I want to be on the show.
No, so, I'm out.
So no, I don't want to be on the show. I'm out of here. So I'm going to be another story. How many stories have you heard, Anthony? Like, yeah, he was there, but they didn't like him, and now he's working, whatever he's working.
I turned him down.
How many stories?
That band I turned down was the Beatles.
I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody. But David they didn't like it. So anyway, James didn't let that happen. I think James, they kept me on the show. And Terrence Winter said, we're going to create a character. His name is Eugene. Who is Eugene? Don't worry about it. We'll find out who he is as we go along. And that's what they did. A lot of the Sopranos, we hung out in the studio of Silver Cup, and the writers got to know us and everything. Like we went to the racetrack and that great scene with that, I forgot the character's name. He said, I won. And I don't know. I think Stevie looks at the ticket. He says, oh, you won $3.
$3.
Yeah. So that really happened.
I said it to show.
That really happened. And I don't want to name the name who it happened to, but I say it in the book who it happened to.
It's pretty interesting that, you as a character, Eugene's character, I mean, he was a sympathetic character. And that's odd because we see him shoot a man in the face.
Yeah.
We see him, involved with some pretty terrible things. Yeah. And somehow he's sympathetic. Whereas Ralph, even when his son was shot with the arrow and he's crying and hugging Tony, you just could not muster up sympathy for that guy. And I think that might have been what they saw in the difference between you playing Ralph and what's his name? Oh my God, I'm terrible.
Joe Pantaleone.
Yeah, Pants.
Yeah, Joey Pants. Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, they got to know us and everything, and they got to know who I was as a person, as I said, and they came up with that script. I really never sat down with Terry and asked them, how'd you come up with that? Where'd you get that? Was it a daydream? Was it a dream itself? Did you read about it in a book and just wanted to hang me? What's up with that?
Right.
It was really great. As I said, I think it was a blessing from God for myself. You know what I mean? It really was, because it opened up so many doors for me. And still to this day, really, it's, people really remember it,
No doubt. I wonder, a lot of people wonder, because it's kind of a common question about when you're in that moment and you're filming those episodes, and maybe not by episode 6. I think by that point, you guys knew that you were on a juggernaut. But early on, even season 3, when you came on, the longevity of this, the passion for the Sopranos, did you have that clue?
And coming in on season 3, it wasn't apparent to me. But as I progressed in it, I said, man, this is like the Beatles, man. This is what they must have felt like. Right. Opening at the Ziegfeld with 1 million people there, and especially season 6. This is the same feeling as the Beatles. I want to play this song again and again and again. But you really, Anthony, the main thing is that as an actor, you don't really know what you have when you're doing it. It's like you're standing on a whale and you're fishing for minnows. You know what I mean? You really are. Like it's just like that. It just goes so fast, and
it is the hindsight you get.
If it happened again on another show, I just every actor just wants to work, and so it was a real blessing. And you can't you can't get it back. You can't look at yesterday. You got to move forward, right?
No, not at all. You could appreciate what you had, and obviously the fans, you could appreciate that. We're going to take a real quick break. We'll come back with you, Robert, and talk about a few things, especially, the members only jacket, the restaurant, the thing, all that you've talked about 1,000 times. But I got you, and I need to hear about this. We'll be back with Robert Funaro in moments. Stick around.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Welcome back, Anthony Cumia Show. We're talking to Robert Funaro, Eugene Pantacorvo,
nice.
The Sopranos. Oh, you got to trill those R's, man. I love it. Robert, I got to ask you, first of all, everybody that died on the show got that talk, and you spoke about that earlier from David Chase, but you had to get, hey, not only died, but you're a rat too. Mm-hmm. What was worse for you? Of course, leaving the show if you're dead, but it's like, you got to make me a rat too.
Yeah. They added a lot of that stuff because they, as I said, they wanted the walls to close in on Eugene. But no, I really never considered myself, because I knew the ending, that I was a rat, that I wasn't going to get out. So I mean, it showed this compassion, I guess, for my wife and my child, you know what I mean,
right,
to get out. So, I mean, it just added to, that resistance, just made the character it fleshed out the character even more. But as I said to you before, I really never considered myself a rat, because I don't think I would have ever really implicated Tony, really wholeheartedly. You know what I mean?
But you had to know. Anyone would have to know being a rat isn't going to end well. It doesn't end well for a lot of the people on the show.
Yeah.
So, you're probably like, I was just thinking maybe you thought it might have sullied the character a little bit, like, God, I don't want to be a rat before I die.
Yeah, no, I really never thought about it, because I guess I knew the ending, so I really never thought about it. I really didn't.
See, that's
look at it
another
that way,
fan question where I'm like, and you go, dude, it's the script. Shut up.
Well, it's like I told you before. People come up to me and they say, well, if it did happen that way, you're probably right. I would have implicated Tony and went on the witness protection program.
Right.
But Sammy.
Right. Yeah. Sammy did that.
It didn't happen. It didn't happen, so.
I also got to ask you, because your death scene is one of the most graphic, disturbing death scenes in cinema history. Yeah. Anyone's death. How did you feel about that when you watched it back? Even though you were there doing it, did you think like, my God, that is brutal?
It kept me on that rope a long time. I know.
It did, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the longest, maybe on television. It's because they show the rope, boom, and you know what I mean.
Right.
And then they shoot right, a close up of the legs or something, close up of something, and then they cut away. But it made it and it just that like a Turkish toffee kind of a thing. But I did a little research into it. Like if you see me, like kind of with the reflexes and everything like that, I spoke to my brother, who's a physician, and Richard Funaro, my brother, and he told me that sometimes when that happens, there's a little reflexive action just before you kick the bucket, kind of your last breath or whatever, if there was a last breath, because you're on a rope. But I put that in there myself, and Tim, when I was doing it, he just came up to me and said to me, Tim Van Patten, great director, directed
someone direct,
Emmy Award-winning director, and he just said, just stay with it, because between takes, just stay with it. We really never stepped away. I stayed with it and stay in that time period. Stay in that with that feeling. I think we captured that moment, and I think his fear, really came across, that essence of the fear of with losing your life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
it's that slow gradient movement off the mortal coil. At first it's a struggle,
and then they put on. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when Terry put in the portfolio, when I was looking at my son, and when I'm looking at the portfolio, I mean, what is that? What do you call those? I guess the pictures of
an album,
the photo album. Yes, I thought that was poignant. That was just great. Terry writing that, and then juxtaposed to On the Rope. You know what I mean? To my eye, that shot close up of the eyes. It was really cool the way they put that together.
Well, that was another thing, because you say how these things are usually done, and there's kind of a pat thing that they do when someone hangs themselves in a movie to not make it that disturbing, and it's kind of been done before, but this one, the transition from you looking at the album and then seeing your face, and you just look very pale and very distraught and disturbed, and no one knows at that moment that you have a noose around your neck, and it was a little, not even close, but reminiscent of Shawshank. when what's his name?
Charles Whitcomb.
Yeah, yes.
Riley.
When he hung himself because it was unexpected. It looked like he was just going to carve his name up there. Yeah. It's that unexpected thing where everyone just goes, "Oh my God, that's insane."
Well, as an actor, I mean, there was no method to that. Just the thought of being up there and doing that itself, committing suicide, was just, and you know what? It's funny because I had some fans call me up and say, you know what, Bobby, I was thinking about committing and you saved my life.
Wow.
I mean, believe it or not, one or two people have told me that. And I said, wow, that's cool, man. I'm glad you stuck around, you know.
Bob, just fantastic talk to you. I got to run. We're on a schedule here for some reason, but thank you. Robert Funaro, your book.
Yes.
Spit it out real quick.
Homemade by Robert Funaro will be at Chico and Sons in Northfield, New Jersey, Tilton Road, April 26th, and in Barnes.
Coming up in moments, more absolutely ridiculous people spewing more absolutely ridiculous nonsense. And your calls, chime in. Tell us how you feel about living in an open air mental institution. Here's another quick story. Mel Gibson's gun rights restored by Trump's Attorney General Pam Bondi 10 years after his domestic violence conviction. Whoa. I think we all remember that, don't we? Gibson lost his gun rights, his right to bear arms after a domestic violence conviction. He was named one of President Trump's special ambassadors to Hollywood in January. Come on, Mel, get out there, grab a gun, go to Hollywood. Do that Mad Max thing. It's Thunderdome out there. Hollywood is Thunderdome. Be the road warrior. Go out, show him. So they're giving him his gun back. Mel Gibson's gun rights will reportedly be restored more than a decade after losing them over a domestic violence incident. Gibson lost his Second Amendment rights in 2011 following his misdemeanor domestic violence conviction concerning an altercation with his then girlfriend and their child back in 2010. And look, it was very, very memorable. But in case you forgot, I'll try to remind you of Mel's hilarious phone conversation with his ex. Look, I'm going to try to self-edit this on the fly. I'm going to try my best not to lose the radio station's license. But here's what you might remember, a quick synopsis of one of the altercations that were recorded by Mel Gibson to his ex-wife on the phone. Do you go out in public and it's embarrassing to me? You look like in heat, and if you get by a packet, it'll be your fault, all right? Because you provoked it. You're provocatively dressed all the time, and your fake boobs, you feel you have to show off in tight outfits and tight pants. You could see her from behind, and that green thing today was enough. That's provocative, okay? I'm telling you the truth. I don't like it. I don't want that woman. I don't want you. I don't believe you anymore. I don't trust you. I don't love you. I don't want you. Look, I think we can all agree we've been there, right? No? All right. So Attorney General Pam Bondi approved the decision to allow the actor, a staunch conservative and vocal supporter of Donald Trump, to own a gun again. I mean, look, we're America, built on guns, God, and ammunition. So, who to say? Who am I? Who am I to say? Who are you? Let's not judge. Give him hell, Mel. I think at some point, him and the ex actually worked something out, some financial arrangement. She wound up dropping any of the charges against him. But what a weird situation. He'd already been charged and tried and pled no contest. I don't even know what that is. I don't want to play. I'm pleading no contest. and then had to abide by the rules of this conviction. And then she kind of dropped the whole thing afterwards. I'm sure some money was exchanged and a deal was made, but that's something. You'd think Mel Gibson could have gotten a good lawyer and gotten completely out of that. But to have to go through that, I think it's partly because he was so persona non grata in Hollywood at that point. He had said some stuff about people that have quite the ability to blackball you in Hollywood. Enough said. I don't want to get myself in too much trouble here. But yeah, he just went through a whole phase where he was garbage. And then he comes out with a couple of self-financed movies that make bank. And they kind of looked and went, oh, okay, Mel Gibson still can make us money. Well, maybe he's not quite as bad as we thought he was. But I trust Mel Gibson with a piece. I have no problem with Mel Gibson walking around with a sidearm. A lot better than a lot of other people I see with guns. So good for you, Mel. Wear it proudly, but don't let girls record you on any medium whatsoever. It's not a good look. Be right back.
Whipping out free speech.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Yep, that it is. The Anthony Cumia Show. I guess we should take some phone calls. People, and I love this, they just start calling when the show starts, which is, I guess that's a good sign that people kind of like what they're listening to. We were talking earlier, of course, about the protests over the weekend across the country, such organic, natural protests. Oh, we don't like Trump and Musk, and hands off is the name of the protest they had. Hands off what? Hands off what? Elon and Trump are telling the politicians to take their hands off the taxpayers' money. And these dopes don't even know what that means. But, yeah, I don't know. Let's talk to Scott from Florida, who's got a take on this. Scott, how you doing, my friend, down there in the Sunshine State?
Hey, Anthony, I'm doing a great, fantastic show. Thanks for taking my call, man.
Appreciate it.
You know, you said earlier those people protested, you said they're nuts, and they are nuts. And you know how I know they're nuts? They believe the politicians, the liberal politicians, actually care about them.
Oh,
that's because they're a cult. They're insane.
It is. That is the craziest thing anyone can believe. And by the way, this is for every politician, regardless of party. If you think a politician cares about you, you're a mental patient. Honestly, when they talk about that, and we care about our people and Americans, and they do not care about anything but power and money. The best we could do is rein them in enough that they could still do their job without completely robbing us and destroying our country. So I agree with you there.
I mean, I'm 55, and there's a lot of political things that I'm concerned about and I care about.
Yeah.
But there's not one conservative politician I've ever voted for would make me get up and go to some rally somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
Because
unless it was kind of fun, maybe like the Trump rallies weren't because people were like, oh, I agree with his policies. I think they were like, I just want to go to this because it seems like a fun party. I get that part of it, but no one's going to a politician's event because you agree with how much they care about you.
Right. Or that I'm under some delusional belief that they do care about me. The only thing they care about me is that I vote for them, and then they don't care at all.
Scott, could you imagine like not having a family that cares about you, friends, even coworkers at some point, that you've whittled it down so far that you have to believe a politician cares about you. It could be the saddest thing. Pull a Eugene and find a beam in your basement and take care of business.
Brooks was here, definitely. Because
Brooks
that's all you have left.
It's disgusting. Scott, I definitely appreciate the call, and I agree with your sentiment, my sir.
Thanks, Anthony. Great show.
Later, man. Oh, my God. This is DT from my newest home state of South Carolina. DT, what's up, my friend?
WABC. Hey, Anthony.
Thank you, man.
A couple weeks ago, you were talking about the celebrities who mouth off politically. They do themselves no favors. When they do that, it divides their fan potential and ultimately their revenue stream. And it seems mandatory nowadays. I'm baffled by this. They're compelled to leverage their celebrity status to try to affect social change. But when has that ever worked?
Yeah, I don't think it does. Even dopey program directors, when I first got into radio, back in the 1800s, when I first started doing radio, the PDs would say, don't alienate any of your audience. Don't have an opinion. Don't talk about politics. Don't even say you don't like a movie, because you're going to alienate half your audience. And while, I couldn't really do that, I think in radio, especially if you're really passionate about your opinions, it comes through, and you'll get half the audience that hates you will listen regardless. But celebrities like movie stars and they ruined careers, their own careers and legacy by speaking up and putting their nonsense out there.
See, you can do that because you're a political pundit, a shock jock.
Shocking, right?
Have you ever gone to a concert and between the songs, the singers got to start mouthing off, hey, we don't like our president and you guys shouldn't like him either.
So
and,
brave.
Half the audience is rah, rah, rah. The other half is like, don't be any better. Get to the next song. When has anyone ever taken a 180 politically because of what some dirtball singer says on stage, And
they don't even realize how hypocritical they are. When you get Rage Against the Machine praising the machine, they're the ones up there saying, the machine is awesome. You come off a little hypocritical.
It's completely counterintuitive. If a person considers themselves an artist, shouldn't their primary motivation be to express their craft to the largest audience possible? Not just for the revenue stream, but for the purpose of art, which is supposed to be for enlightenment, entertainment,
DT,
and bringing
my friend,
people together.
It's called narcissism. It's called narcissism.
Or insanity. Or insanity.
I think it's both of the two.
DT,
thank you, my friend. Let's try to get Lindsey Graham out of there in South Carolina. Huh? Maybe. I don't know. Thank you, sir. There goes DT from South Carolina. But it's right. It's like, I think it is narcissism. They've already attained what they wanted to. They've achieved this level of celebrity that is bigger than anything we could imagine. So the adulation they've gotten over the years and continue to get doesn't satisfy them anymore. They're addicted to it. So they need to do something else. So when they start thinking, these celebrities, that, people love what I say when I say things that writers write for me, and they love how I dress because a costume person dressed me like this. They love how I move because a director told me to move like this. Well, I've appreciated all that the applause and notoriety and popularity I've gotten because of that. But I bet if I tell them what I think, political, ideological, how I feel people should lead their lives, that's going to be the top of the heap. I'm going to be amazing. And people are going to love me. Whoops. I screwed up there, didn't I? Yeah. They don't want to hear that. Do what the director says. Say what the writer wrote for you, because you people are imbeciles. They're clinically retarded, I believe, if I may indeed use that word. Let's go to, here's one. Harriet, the lovely Harriet from Brooklyn. Harriet, what's up?
I love you. Listen,
Harriet loves me.
Yeah. You know that Johnny L. Blinsky wrote a review of a George Clooney play recently opened, and he was portraying Edward R. Murrow.
Edward R. Murrow,
right.
yes.
Yeah, yes. So he's no Edward R. Murrow, and his wife wants to put Trump and Netanyahu in jail. She wrote up the papers of the International Criminal Court. So my message to George Clooney is this: if I can borrow from Kyle and Cartman of South Park.
Oh, please.
George, you are an a-hole.
His wife did this? His wife came up with this?
Yes, they drew up. Yes, she drew up the papers of the International Criminal Court. It's not recognized in America.
Harriet,
it's not recognized in Britain.
Did you see recently George Clooney got mad because MSNBC had come out and said something about the fact that George wasn't sincere about wanting Biden to step down, that Obama had told him, George, go out there and say that Biden needs to step down. And when Mika over at MSNBC had said that on the air, George lost his mind and called the producers over there and said, Obama never told me what to do. I thought Joe Biden shouldn't be. Meanwhile, Obama told them all what to do. George Clooney, his dumb wife, all of his dumb friends that we might love from, whatever movies in Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 83. They're all pieces of garbage, liberal Hollywood trash, Harriet.
Dreck. They're Hollywood dreck.
Only a woman named Harriet would use a word like dreck. I'm not even going to ask how old you are, but I love you too, Harriet. Thank you for the phone call, Miss Harriet. I love this AM station because I'm certainly not getting girls we would want to put in a 55-gallon drum and drop fish guts on like we did on the old O&A show. Anyway, we are going to discuss more of the hands-off protests. I got a little more of that because it's about Social Security and Medicaid, and they say, don't touch. But the fact of the matter is that none of that has been touched. I have proof, documented evidence that none of that's been touched. But, they put these puppets out there. They hand them signs. They give them a list of slogans to yell. And before you know it, they're protesting. They're actual protesters, and it's just such garbage. Back in moments. If you go anywhere, I swear you got to answer to me. Anthony Cumia Show.
This is the Anthony Cumia Show.
Is this grunge music or something? Yeah. Back when music was cool.
Yeah, I hear you, Beavis and Butthead. Anthony Cumia Show. You know what? We got to get right into this because another thing, much like Clown of the Week, every single day we see what's called fake news.
Now.
Fake news, folks. Fake news.
It's the fake news.
Fake stories.
News moment.
I'm disgusted with all the fake news. It's literally propaganda, Soviet era propaganda. Remember the TASS news agency, Pravda, back in the old Soviet Union? And we'd watch and go, imagine if that ever happened here in America. We would, what would you do? Nothing. You'd soak it up, bask in it, and blather it out like it was gospel the next day. You cowards. But this week, the fake news clip, again from MSNBC, I think this is now 5 weeks running. It's Chuck Schumer. He's lying of course, about Donald Trump. Now, look, Trump, I get it. We don't all love everything Trump does. And we'll talk a little bit about that later with the tariffs and the stock market plummeting. But one thing I don't think you could call Donald Trump would be anti-Semitic. This is hilarious to me. Did you run out of stuff? Did you run out of grab them by the boop, see? Did you run out of all that? And now you actually got to go into things that are so outrageously fake. Chuck Schumer is saying that Trump is anti-Semitic, but then he goes, maybe not, but he supports anti-Semitism. He doesn't call it out, which again, if you don't call it out, then you are. But I think Trump has proven over the years to be a pretty staunch supporter of Israel, much to the chagrin of other people that have issues with that. But here's Chuck Schumer talking about that anti-Semite, that Nazi Donald Trump.
Yeah, look, Donald Trump is, he may not be an anti-Semite, but he certainly tolerates anti-Semitism in so many ways, calling me a Palestinian, don't tell my mother, but also talking about in Charlottesville, both sides had good people. When he brings an anti-Semite like Fuentes to sit at his table at Mar-a-Lago, when the Great Replacement theory, which we all know is a conspiracy theory among the hard right, that Jews are trying to replace the white race with immigrants. Every other president, Lawrence, every other president, Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, whether it's Reagan or Bush or Clinton or Obama, when there was bigotry, their job was to push it down. Donald Trump, he either revels in it or just lets it stay right there. That shows you one of the many, many reasons he doesn't deserve to be president.
He's not even good at it anymore. If he ever was, he's not even good at this stuff. You got to come up with, if you're going to smear your political enemy, at least come up with something that's kind of believable. Anything. Donald Trump supports anti-Semitism. And then of course, the Nazis are good people. How many times does this thing have to be debunked? They pull out the same garbage. Chuck Schumer is a liar. Chuck Schumer is terrible for the country and the state of New York. Like, New York doesn't have enough problems that the representative of the state of New York should be concentrating on nothing but New York State and its problems. And this guy, just all day, every day, week after week, month, year, all he can do is just badmouth Donald Trump to the point where he just makes stuff up. Anti-Semitic. Have you ever seen a president, people that don't support Israel? And I'm not talking about anti-Semites. I'm not talking about people that support Hamas or Palestine or anything. I'm just talking about people that just go, meh, I'd like more attention paid to America than Israel. Those people, they look at Donald Trump like he's an Orthodox Jew. They look at him like, I can't believe how much support this guy gives to Israel. But Chuck Schumer is now trying his hardest. And you see what he did there? He couldn't quite push him into Donald Trump's an anti-Semite. He's like, well, maybe not an anti-Semite. He supports anti-Semitism. Like, really? Really? Because if you want to go down that road, Chuck Schumer, if you remember, I guess it was about a year ago, he declined a request by Netanyahu to address the Dems last year. All the Dems, they didn't want Netanyahu to speak. And then Schumer goes through this whole thing about how it would be detrimental to Israel to have Netanyahu speak in front of the Democratic caucus a year ago. And I'll tell you what it would be detrimental for, by the way, the Democrats, because they notice that the vast majority of young Democrats, the people that go to these indoctrination centers called colleges, they're the ones that were anti-Israel. How do you get young Democrats to vote for you if you are pro-Israel? It's very, very difficult. So he had to make it seem like he was pro-Palestinian by not having Netanyahu there. So Trump's an anti-Semite. You're an anti-Semite, Chuck Schumer. Don't go anywhere. Back in a moment. Anthony Cumia Show.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
They were doing what they were paid to do. Shock.
Shocking. So shocking. The Anthony Cumia Show. It's hilarious. Let's take a quick call. We can do that, I think. I think we can do that. This is Sean from the Isle of Long Island, New York, my home base. What's up, Sean?
Anthony, I am a humongous fan. And
Don Corleone, I hope the first child is a masculine child. Thank you.
Well,
Sean, yes, go ahead.
Well, Ann, I can tell you, you are looking more and more like Pat Cooper. Anthony, give it 5 years.
Who told you that? Who told you that? Who told you that? Remember that? He would.
What did I do? Why did they don't talk to me no more?
I know. Pat Cooper, look, I'm Italian. I'm getting up there. I needed readers. I decided to get 2 telescope lenses and pop them on my face. Problem, Sean?
No problem at all, kid. Listen, Joe Biden had a 25% tariff on Hunter, right? Then Hunter hit Joe with a retaliatory 25% tariff. Now, if you look at these things, you're a smart guy because you don't get funny and clever without being intelligent. I know that it's a cold fact of life. And people are jealous of people who are funny, and they replace it with sarcasm, and they come off as you know what. I don't want to say it on the air. But the thing is, I just want to ask you something, Anthony, because you are a funny dude. Okay. Let me ask you something. In the part of American history, in the latter part of the 20th century and the 21st century, do you believe that Pat Buchanan and Steve from Manhattan are 2 of the biggest names to set the story straight on the invasion of America?
Is this Steve?
No, people say that. It's not Steve, no.
Steve.
It's not.
How you doing, Steve? You okay?
Hey, it's not Steve from Manhattan. I knew you were going to say that. Man. I compliment you.
I know. Look, I know, and I appreciate that. I like the compliments. I like Long Island. I don't quite get the question, though. What do you want me to say?
Well, the thing is, what I'm saying now is people are screaming about the invasion because it's in their backyard. But when it was in the backyard of everybody in California, they said nothing. California's gone forever.
NIMBY, not in my backyard. I get you. Yeah, now it's come up. It's all over the country. It's not just border states that were being invaded, and it's everything. And we got to do something about it. I see Trump doing something. At least ICE is out there arresting people. Look, it's not Trump's fault or the administration or ICE or anyone's fault that they can't deport people fast enough. Blame the people that left the border open for decades before Trump even got there. That's what I say, Sean. Thank you, my friend. I do appreciate Sean. I still think it's Steve, but another thing going on, of course, is how much time I got? Let me see. 30. Yeah, okay, we got time. This is the Three Stooges, the new Three Stooges. It's drunk Kamala Harris, Letitia James, and Jasmine Crockett. And these three are dopes. And they get attention and they get adoration from the mentally ill. First, let's listen to Kamala Harris talk about how somehow we must all be thinking that she told us. Let's listen to Kamala.
There is a sense of fear that has been taking hold in our country. And I understand it. But we're saying people stay quiet. We are seeing organizations stay quiet. We are seeing those who are capitulating to clearly unconstitutional threats.
What?
And these are the things that we are witnessing each day in these last few months in our country. And it understandably creates a great sense of fear.
Yes, is fear.
Because, there were many things that we knew would happen. Many things. I'm not here, so I told you so.
Shut ya yap. Have another shot. Oh, my God. Why isn't she gone? Maybe not presidential candidate, but she wasn't even a presidential candidate. She never got nominated. Don't they just go away when they lose miserably? Here's Jasmine Crockett pretty much saying, hi, I was a DEI hire. Listen to this nonsense.
When I first became a public defender, I had no criminal defense experience. And I walked in and I told my boss, Charlie, I said, listen, you should hire me. He said, why? I said, because I'm black. Charlie looked at me like I was crazy.
Oh, yeah? She says, why should you, he says, why should I hire you? She goes, because I'm black. All right. That's diversity, equity, and inclusion hire. If anyone asks a rational person why they should be hired for a job, don't they give their qualifications? If you give your skin color, I think that's against everything every civil rights leader has said over the course of history. But I don't know. All right. She seems to think, it's different than that. And it's admitting. Give your qualifications. Say, this is why I should be hired. I've done this. Here's my resume. I'm sitting. By the way, most of the people that are hired for any job are hired based on their face-to-face interview with somebody, not what's written on a resume or application. It's got to be a personal thing. But she put so much importance in the color of her skin and said to her prospective employer, here's why you should hire me. I'm a black woman. All right. And I guess Shemp, the Shemp of the Three Stooges. This is Letitia James. Letitia, as you know, is a Soros-sponsored prosecutor assigned to New York who ran on a platform of, hey, I'm just going to find something to arrest Donald Trump on. Well, do you have anything? No. If you elect me, I'll find something, which is the antithesis of what a prosecutor is supposed to do. They're supposed to prosecute crimes that have already been established. If you have somebody that has allegedly committed a crime, you're the one that has to look and sort that out as the prosecutor. You don't make up stuff so that someone you don't agree with gets to be arrested. And that's what she did. Despicable. Terrible. So here's Letitia talking about, I don't even know. She's trying to have an MLK moment. Again, like Cory Booker, for some reason, people want to have this moment where they sound profound and they use language that is very symbolic of things. It's like metaphors. They love speaking in metaphors. And if someone's good at it, it's amazing. People go, oh, I get that. Yes, that means this. When an idiot tries to sound smart or profound, they sound like an idiot. And Letitia doesn't disappoint with this little tirade. Let's listen to Letitia James.
Again, I apologize. Listen, 57 years after the assassination of Dr. King, and Dr. King talked about that stone of hope.
Is there a doctor in the house?
Stone of hope that gives me a fire in my belly each and every morning. It's that stone of hope that allows me to wake up and to stand to Donald Trump and to say, Donald Trump, I'm not afraid of you. It's that stone of hope. It's that stone of hope that gives me power. That's that stone of hope and the belief in each and every one of you to let you know that I'm not going to allow my ancestors, all of those who died for me to be in this position. I am not going to disgrace them and disappoint them. I am going to use the law both as a sword and as a shield and challenge Donald Trump. And each and every time he issues an illegal executive order, I am going to stand up to him because he represents to me sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity.
Look, she liked that line, so she says it again. Like Chip.
Sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity.
Conscientious stupidity.
And so DEI, as far as I am concerned, is more than about just black people. Let's be honest.
That's right.
DEI is about paid parental leave. DEI is about disabled children. DEI includes a number of categories. So when they talk about DEI, let them know that they're not only coming after us, but they're coming after all of us. And we've got to stand together, a stand in community, stand with this great organization under the leadership of our civil rights leader, Reverend Al Sharpton, who has been a bright and shining light in the darkness. But I don't know about you. It's that stone of hope that inspires me each and every day.
Stone of hope.
And listen, faith and fear can never share the same space. And so I'm covered by the blood. And I'm not afraid of Donald Trump. You can come after me, but no enemy, nothing formed against me will perish. Nothing formed against me. Nothing formed against me. Nothing formed against me.
She's trying so hard. All right. Even Al's like,
you
shut
thought
up.
you could preach, huh?
You could preach. That's the Reverend Al. And you thought you could preach. Oh, my God. Hi, this is Bob Stone of Hope. At Texaco Theaters, Bob Stone of Hope. Stone of Hope. She tried to get that going as like the mountaintop. I've been to the mountaintop. Stone of Hope. Stone of Hope. Oh, and then repeating things over and over to try to make it something. Just stop already. It's played out. It's embarrassing. It's cringeworthy. Her googly eyes are pointing each and every way, by the way. Have you seen this woman? Oh, my goodness. That is unbelievably embarrassing to listen to that nonsense. Whenever I swear to you, you know, every politician has a gimmick. They all have a gimmick. Chuck Schumer, like we just listened to him before, and he needs to bring anti-Semitism into what he's saying because he's trying to kowtow to his Jewish constituency. He's Jewish. So if he's got an enemy, that enemy needs to be anti-Semitic. And then we have black women and black men politicians, like Cory Booker and attorneys like Letitia James and Jasmine Crockett and Kamala. And their thing is to evoke their ancestors and to try this Martin Luther King dialect and cadence and this repeating thing. It's embarrassing. Just if it worked, great, then do it. But as an American, I just want to tell politicians that use these tropes, this nonsense, that it's not working. It's embarrassing. And I see the stone of hope, the stone of hope. And she says it like this is going to be in a history book. I swear to you, 100 years, they're going to be going, remember when Letitia James did her Stone of Hope speech? Just like Martin Luther King in Washington, D.C. I have a dream. Ugh. I'd rather have a kidney stone than Letitia's Stone of Hope. It's more pleasurable pissing out a kidney stone than Letitia's Stone of Hope. I don't know what happens. These people lose their minds. And Jasmine admitting, if I may call her Jasmine by her first name, admitting that she was a DEI hire. I was thinking about this over the weekend. It's not even, it's not the ability that someone, you have, I think everyone has the ability to do something, but you might not have the competence to do it. You know, we've heard about people's ability. You could do that if you try, if you put your mind to it, if you put your body to it, if you do. So an ability can be there, but the competence, you could hand me the exact same paintbrush and canvas and paints that Rembrandt used. I have the tools now. I have everything needed, everything that he used to paint what he painted. And I pick it up and I dip it in the paints that he used and it's garbage. Now you would think the ability is there because I have the equipment. I have everything necessary, but I'm not a competent artist. And no matter how much I practice, odds dictate I will never reach that level of proficiency that Leonardo da Vinci or Rembrandt or any of your famous classical artists attained. So it just because you say you can do it because you're a person, I'm a person, I can do this. It's not DEI. I'm just put in this position and I have everything I need to do this. Well, yeah, I don't think you're doing it right. I think you're terrible at it. We've been told too many years, and this goes so far back. Many years ago, and it seems like yesterday, but many years ago, when we started hearing about baseball games for kids, softball games, football games that they weren't going to keep score on. Remember that? Oh, they stopped keeping score. Trophies? No one gets trophies. Exceptional classes? No. Everyone is exceptional. So they don't all go in they don't have an exceptional class. There were exceptional kids. There were people that were very good at doing certain things, and no one could achieve that. And they just got rid of all that and said everyone can do anything. And now look where we are with incompetent people in positions they shouldn't be in because people just told them you could do whatever you dream of. Ugh, please. We'll be right back. Anthony Cumia.
Whipping out free speech.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Oh, what happened to the 90s? I miss the 90s. Yeah. It's so weird. Every generation, thinks their music was the best. And the 90s, that's kind of was my bag, man. And I think it was the best. What are you going to do? I appreciate 80s. That was fun. 70s was, smoke some pot, Led Zeppelin. 60s, it's my parents' stuff. 50, bang. All right, how far are you going, Anthony? But yeah, 90s, it's kind of where early 2s, because it kind of was an extension of the 90s. But after that, by me, no clue. I want to talk a little more about this hands-off protest that took place. A bunch of people that seem to be paid or mentally ill. A lot of boomers, a lot of older people. There were some protesters complaining. They're like, where are the young people? They should be here protesting. Hands off. Elon Musk and Donald Trump shouldn't have the power, the fascist power. And it's like, you know where the young kids are? They hate you. They hate you and your woke nonsense. They love the rabble rousing of Trump, Musk, and they just don't get it. Again, they feel that we're the mental patients, but show me clips. Show me clips. I'll show you people in doggy outfits, the most hideous men dressed as women, trying to talk like women. They're from monster movies. And we're supposed to go, oh, maybe this person has a point. I can't get past looking at him because I'm in fear for my life. But yeah, maybe they may have a good point. So these protests were taking place all over the country. So spontaneous. You know how a national protest in every major city, liberal city, just comes grassroots. It just happens naturally and organically, doesn't it? They're not being paid. This wasn't a thing choreographed by the left. Of course not. But their main thing was hands off what? That's what I kind of looked at. I'm like, hands off what? So I looked into it, and it seems to be it's hands off Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security, and veterans benefits. There's a bunch of things that if you listened, you'd go, wow, has Trump pulled benefits from veterans? People that served our great land, Medicaid and Medicare, poor old people that are sick aren't getting the care they need because Donald Trump and Elon Musk pulled the money out from under them. Social Security, people work their whole lives. They put into Social Security. They want to retire and they aren't getting checks because Donald Trump and Elon Musk have cut Social Security. So I go, I'm going to look into this. Let me look. And here's what I found. As far as Social Security, Medicaid goes, Donald Trump has not cut any Social Security benefits. Any. And this is despite claims and concerns that you see online. The Trump administration repeatedly stated its commitment to protecting Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid benefits. A White House statement from March 11th of 2025, about a month ago, explicitly said the Trump administration will not cut Social Security, Medicaid, or Medicare benefits. President Trump himself has said over and over again, this aligns with Trump's public promises, including February 18th, 2025, statement on Fox News. He said Social Security won't be touched other than if there's fraud or something. Now, I think we can all agree that if there's fraud or something, that perhaps, that should be cut. Well, he didn't. He's talking about cutting the fat, bloat, and corruption in Social Security. Employees that were put on the books for Social Security. How about that? As far as VA benefits go, he hasn't cut veterans benefits. He actually signed a VA Mission Act in 2018, which expanded veterans' access to private health care options paid for by the government and increased VA funding. So hands off what? Hands off politicians with their hands in our damn pockets. That's what I say, morons. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. The Anthony Cumia Show.
WABC New York and 107.1 WLIR FM Hampton Bays.
Remember seeing this band back when I was a child. Anthony Cumia Show, welcome back as we begin our illustrious third hour. We wanted to try this out and see what people are thinking, and people want to ask me things. You got the phone lines. Give us a call, 800-848-9222. Ponderous. But also, emails, they're available. I wish I had the address here. We'll do it next time. But somebody actually did email something, and they wanted to ask me something. So the first week ever, Ask Anthony anything.
It's Ask Anthony Anything.
Ask Anthony.
Ask Anthony.
Ask Anthony anything.
Ask Anthony anything.
Anything. Yeah, you could do that. This one, right. Dear Casey, I'd like to ask you a question. Hey, Anthony, I noticed in recent years how you become more calm and composed during your shows. Really? All right. You don't yell and scream like you used to in the old O&A days on the radio. Is this because you had heart surgery? Has the surgery affected your speech in some way? Or are you just not the same angry young man anymore? Love the show. Listen all the way from Germany. Thanks. No name. Well, Adolf. I'll answer you because Ask Anthony anything. No. Any medical stuff I've been through during my life has never had a bearing on how I feel or react or talk about any topic. The O&A show was from when I was 35 till I guess, wow, what was I in 40, 53? I guess I was 53 years old. So 35, 45, 50, maybe 55, about 20 years, let's say. And 35 to 55 is a pretty different attitude in one's life. 35 is your 20s. I don't care what anyone says. You cross that threshold from 29 to 30 and you lose your mind. You go, that's it. I'm done. No more fun. I'm out of my 20s. I'm now a 30-something douche. Not true. You will continue your 20s right into your 30s. Swear. And the only thing that really pulls the reins back on that spirit of you in your 20s is your age, but it's not 30s. And you could even coast into your 40s. You'll start doing things different, making maybe some wiser decisions about your life than you did in your 20s, but you're still up for a good party and hanging out with your friends and drinking and, you know, maybe doing some other things you shouldn't be doing. So, you know, you just, it's kind of how it goes between your 20s and even your 40s. 50. Let me tell you a little bit about 50. 50 is a wall that you think you're going to hit. So you're ready for it and prepared for it, but you don't hit it. You go into 50 from your 40s pretty much feeling like you did in your 20s. I kid you not. Oh, I understand. You may have gotten a touch of the gout. You might limp a little. You wake up and go, oh, try to put your underwear on. That leg don't come up high enough as easy as it used to put it in that friggin' hole, does it? But you're still the same mindset. You're still, if you were an angry young man, you're an angry middle-aged man. I get it. And then you go through your 50s constantly looking for the wall. Where is it? Where's the damn wall? Let me tell you where the wall is. Your birthday at 60. That, my friends, is where a lot changes. Maybe not even so much mentally, but the physical part of it is so drastic that it affects the mental part of it. You're still 20 in your head. You're still a piece of crap. But you're just, you don't have the potential of being such a jerk, such an ass in your 60s. Being loud, you're like, why? Why bother? You hearken back to all your years of experience at that point. You go, I could yell, but yeah. And then some of the other O&A things we did was shock jockery. We were shock jocks. So it's very difficult to continue being that because you just feel creepy. It's just not a thing to do. And I'm not saying that wall in your 60s means that it's over. It's close. But there's just certain things that happen in your mind and body that you're just kind of like, what am I bothering? You get grandfathered in. You don't have to yell because you're allowed to say anything at this point. People just go, look at him. Let him say what he wants. So while I haven't, as you put it, calmed down, it's just, I guess, the natural occurrence of putting a few years under your belt and realizing, what the hell am I yelling about? And I still kind of yell on this show. I think I have. You might have heard it. But thank you from Germany. You didn't leave a name, but ask Anthony anything. We'll put the email address up. I should have had that written down, shouldn't I, guys? Did I fail miserably? I failed miserably. I'll have that, though, next time. Next week with Jim Norton when I'm in studio in New York at WABC. This is Alice from Ohio. Let's take a phone call. Alice, how you doing, Alice?
Very well, very well. I like your spirit, and your assessment of the ages is good.
Thank you, Alice.
But sometimes we put up our own walls. You know,
yeah, man, I know you're right.
I like your spirit and just keep it up. You're a great addition.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome, and you deserve it. Do you know, I have a bone to pick with we don't have statesmen anymore with the likes of Crockett and what's her name? Presley in Pennsylvania.
Presley. Oh God, they're embarrassing. Yes.
AOC, they're disgusting. You know what? Well, for one thing, when Jasmine Crockett said she was hired for DEI, how nice. She doesn't have a brain, but she filled in a place, a quota.
She checked the right box, right?
But let me tell you something. I am a descendant of a man who died the 2nd of July of 1863, fighting the Battle of Gettysburg. He was in the Pennsylvania 6th Cavalry. It was a volunteer regiment. And he's buried in that cemetery where Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address. And my ancestor fought so that she could have such a big mouth and insult everyone in this country. And she, you know what? It gets to you, you know.
It's a shame. It's a shame that so many noble soldiers fought and died for an idea for America and something they didn't even know what it would be, the future of America, and they assumed I am fighting and perhaps putting my life on the line for a better nation that I am standing in right now. And it's so heartbreaking to think that, oh my God, did they fight for a future nation that is so much worse than the one they were fighting for? That's troubling. That's very sad.
It is. And he was a volunteer. It was his idea. I have visited his grave, and then something else. I'm hopping around. You mentioned Social Security. It was LBJ who dipped into the Social Security.
Oh yeah,
for his pet project. Yes,
that LBJ. When he's not dipping into Social Security, he's blowing the head off of one of our presidents. That son of a bitch.
Yes. And how about the location where he held press conferences? Did you know about that?
In the toilet. He would sit on the toilet, actually defecating into his toilet and tell his people to bring the media in, and that's where they would ask him questions. What a piece of
he was disgusting, absolutely disgusting. So this is what the Democrats have to. Aren't they proud? And we have someone who really wants to make something of this world, and he doesn't need the money. He's giving it back. It's because he loves this country.
And they're killing him for it. They're killing him for it, Alice. Him and Elon, and they can't say enough bad stuff that is literally threatening these two men's lives. For what? You want these politicians that have been crooked for forever to steal more of your money?
And also, these protesters, this is how they make a living. They should be ashamed of themselves. And then another thing, too, the people who call President Trump a Nazi probably have no idea what went on in Germany. They have no idea who Adolf Hitler was, what a bad man he was.
No clue.
No.
Fun.
Absolutely. No, it's totally uninformed. Oh.
Alice, I appreciate your call. I appreciate your compliments, and thank you for your support. Alice from Ohio.
We need more of you. We need more of you.
More of me. I'll clone myself. Thank you, Alice. You're quite a dear. Look at me. I'm a talk show host taking calls from Alice from Ohio. Who saw that coming? I sure didn't. There's other stuff going on. This is representatives, women that were elected to Congress. I'm not kidding you. They were. And the amazing thing here, they think they should get time off for being women and doing what women do occasionally, have kids. Men and women, very different. I don't care what some of these nuts say. Men can give birth. Women are men. Men are women. They can't even define woman. But boy, they sure want this privilege of getting time off when they want to have a baby. I think it's a decision you made, and sorry, some things are, if you go into a certain occupation, perhaps you're not going to be able to do that job if you decide to have kids. Is Congress one of those jobs? Maybe. Let's hear from, this is Representative Anna Paulina Luna, Brittany Pedersen, and some third woman. I don't know who this is, but listen to this logic, if you will.
Historically, it's been much more wealthy, older men who serve in Congress. This isn't designed for young families and for young women especially.
Congress was designed and built for old white men to represent themselves. And, we've made a lot of progress since then. We get into it because we're public servants and we care about representing our community. But there should be some accommodations for family things that come up, like the birth of a child.
It's not like I'm faking, to go party in Cabo, right? Like I'm actually trying to recover, but then B, also care for a newborn.
Our job is to represent people, and I'm a 35-year-old woman. All of my friends are going through this problem right now. That is representing people.
American people are not just single, older men with or without children.
I want to be able to represent my community, and I want to be able to have a family, and it shouldn't be so hard to figure out how to do both.
No, it should. It should be hard because it's unreasonable to think that that's a thing that should happen. Some people, women, I guess, would be offended by what I'm saying. They should be able to do any job. And then if they get pregnant and have a kid, they need 3 months off, a quarter of a year off from whatever they're doing, no matter how important that job is, because they're pregnant. And if you think that's bad, if you think that's not a good idea, you are a misogynistic piece of crap. And, that's how you're seen. You hear how they talk about men. They're the man, they're the white man. And men are better at doing jobs that need their attention all the time. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Regardless of babies. Having a kid is a job. That's your job. You can't go to a job and say, well, I have a second job. Well, what is it? Well, I'm going to have a kid. When? Don't know. So you have a second job that's going to take away from the job you're doing, but you can't quite tell me when that's going to be. Yeah, you got it. That's exactly it. How does that work? How in the hell can somebody demand that of an employer? It makes no sense whatsoever. It's called traditional roles. We have had roles in life as men and women. Am I teaching people anything new? Because if you don't know this, you're stupid. These are traditional roles that men and women take up because they're men and women. You didn't see women building the railroads, mining, building structures for a new town out west. They sat in the wagon while the men fought the engines and drove the horses. You cared for a kid if you had him on the prairie. For some reason, in this century and a portion of the last, women seem to think that that's just a thing. Like if a man gets a hangnail and he clips it off, it's like, I'll be right back. What happened? This nail. Ooh, I got to clip it off. He's back in a minute and ready to do his job again. Women, 3 months, I'll be back. Maybe my kid will have special needs and I'll come back in 6 months. That's insane. And these congresswomen talking like they have this privilege to just leave their job. You got the job because the people wanted you to represent their needs in Washington. Not represent their needs 9 months out of 12 because you're having a kid. I need my platform, my principles, my politics. I need that represented all the time. You're my go-to person. If I want to write a letter or make a phone call or whatever it is, my concerns that I have as one of your constituents, I want to know you're there. And they're making it like it's just a receptionist job at a hair cutter. Are you a barista? You're at Starbucks and they're going to give you 3 months off to have a baby? Godspeed, have a pisser. But if you're representing people, if they voted you in and gave you the trust to go to Washington and tell the powers that be what your people need, yeah, 3 months might be a little too long to take off. What entitlement? What entitlement they believe they have? It's disgusting, I tell you. All right. We'll be back. Vegas is dying, apparently. We'll talk about it. Anthony Cumia Show.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
77 WABC. See.
I think they're singing about the devil. Anthony Cumia Show. Thank you for listening. I do appreciate it. We're here every Sunday. What are you doing? And don't forget, next Sunday, the great James Norton, comedian extraordinaire, will be joining me in studio up in New York City live. So I have been looking forward to this since we booked it quite a while ago. Me, Jim, doing a radio show. Enjoy. I do appreciate your support. Look, people that have known me over the course of the years know I do enjoy playing a card game or two. And my home base, the Borgata, Atlantic City. But I'll go out to Vegas. If there's some shindig going on out there, I've gone out with many friends. I've gone out with, when we do a comedy show, Gavin, Josh, and myself have done comedy shows out there. And I've had fun. But I have noticed something that isn't very good. Atlantic City, Vegas, those are really the only two. Don't tell me about your Chicago casinos. Your Indian. Oh, all right. The Indian casinos in Connecticut. All right. Those are pretty good. But hey, we got to see every time I've gone to a city. I went to Detroit, and people know I play cards. I like playing blackjack and whatnot. And they go, "Oh, we got a casino. It's right up the road, wherever." And I've never gone there and gone, "What a lovely place. What a beautiful casino. What wonderful clientele they have here." I almost don't want to win because I'd be in fear for my life walking away from the cage with the payout. And by the cage, I mean where the money is, not where most of the clientele should be housed. None of them are nice places or casinos. Borgata and Atlantic City, amazing. It's the most Vegas-like hotel casino you're going to get outside of Vegas. So you go to Vegas now, and sorry, you got your big dome thing, your big bubble, your ball, You got your zip lines. You have your street entertainment. Do you? It's garbage. And you think I'm speaking out of school here? Just look at the revenue and try not to blame it on the economy or anything. Gambling, casinos, they feel it during economic crunches, but not nearly as much as other businesses. And we're really not in that bad of an economic crunch to not want to gamble. It's literally a problem. It's an addiction. People aren't going to go, I just can't afford my addiction today. So Vegas, it seems, the latest financial reports are out, down 14% on the year. 14%. People just are not going to Vegas to gamble. Why would they? I've been there. I know how it goes. It's not pretty. It's not a pretty sight. Very expensive. The games stink. They stink now. What happened? What happened to casinos that take care of their clientele? I don't know. We watch a movie like Casino. De Niro. Remember the end? They showed old Vegas being dynamited. All the buildings coming down and De Niro's voiceover. You know, a writer wrote it for him, so it wasn't cackling, rambling garbage. But he talks about the old Vegas and how it's different now. And the parents use up their kids' college fund while the kids play paper pirates on these fake pirate ships in these hotels. And it's just not the old days. They don't know your name. They'll make you fill out tax forms if you win. That was the 90s. That movie came out like 30 some odd 30 years ago. And now you look and realize, oh my God, that is what is now. And it's even worse. I got a couple of, where are they here? I got a couple of posts on X, Twitter, if you will. And here's what people were writing under the post that said that Vegas is down and they don't know why. One post is, between the labyrinth of sidewalks and walkways to maximize spending, stepping over bums, avoiding slow parents with enormous strollers 24/7, resort fees, $15 coffees, just to see the one $10 table is 5 people deep, and the 20 manned 100 tables are empty. Vegas is garbage now. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. I can gamble in my basement with a $1 to $2 beer any night of the week. I love Vegas, but not at those prices. See? People are disgusted. Honestly disgusted with what's going on in Vegas. We'll talk about this a little more when we come back from this short break. Stick around, won't you? Oh, I keep going? I didn't know. See, I didn't know. I'm new to that. No, I'm kidding, of course. All right, we'll talk about more of it now. Here's another post. And this is all, I've been there. I've seen it. The allure of Vegas is gone. It's like Hollywood. Remember? We thought Hollywood was Tinseltown and celebrities, star-studded Hollywood and Vine. Hollywood. It's garbage. Here's another one. It's hard to find a hamburger on the strip that doesn't have a celebrity chef brand or a price under $30. You're going to pay $30 for a burger? Yeah, you are. Major League Baseball park prices on the beers and cocktails, there's zero value in Vegas, only price gouging. Go elsewhere. And they're wondering, is it the economy? It must be a recession coming in. Another one, the last one here. That's what they deserve. The casino used to offer cheap buffets and comps. Now they offer nothing except a crappy, overpriced experience. You can't find a regular blackjack table under $100 minimum bet. F Vegas. Yeah. This isn't just Vegas, mind you. Obviously, Vegas is a big thing in Vegas, but any casino you go to now, here's what they do. It's all about slot machines. Remember the mutants, the old people with oxygen tanks rolling around that would sit at a slot machine and dump their kids' inheritance into it? And you'd have to walk through the slots to get from your hotel room to the table games. And you just look and go, ugh, disgusting savages. Oh, look at these horrible people. Who does this? And then you hear, do you know that the slot machines make more money at a casino than any of the table games? And you go, oh, okay. I didn't know that, but now I know. I don't care. I'm going to play blackjack for hours on end. I'll start at the $10 table. I'll build up a stack. I'll go to the $25, maybe $50 table. And then, if God willing, things are going well, I'll go to a $100 table. Well, they've taken that out of the mix. Last time I was at a casino with all my buddies, we could not find a $10 table or a $25 table. There were a couple of $50 tables, but $100 tables were the norm. And you want a few of them? Get lost. They gave up on table games. It's not financially viable. Why pay a dealer? Why pay a croupier when you could put a machine in the place and some ancient dope will sit in front of it and deposit his Social Security checks into it without anyone having to be there? Why have to have a dealer? Why have to have anybody with any charisma or rapport or personality that makes the experience, fun? Why have that? We're just going to make more money. Well, what did they realize? 14% off from last year. Because people don't want to go to Vegas to play slot machines. I can, as can many people, go online. Well, I can't. I'm in South Carolina. They have a law here. You can't do online gambling, and I'm pissed about it. But most of the other states in our fair union, you can gamble online. Now, you might go, I'm not getting the casino experience. I'm not getting the excitement of sitting at a blackjack table. Well, you're not getting that in Vegas either anymore, are you? That was part of the allure. Sitting at a blackjack table, you're losing, you're pissed. You're winning, everyone at the table's your bestest friend. There's a crowd gathered around. You're cheering when you win. The dealer's telling you stories from the strip. It's part of the experience. And what do they do now? Take 5 blackjack tables, trash them, put slot machines there. Because they're just going to make the money? Yeah. For the zombies that gravitate toward them, sit down and pump their money in. But you're not getting players. You're not getting the whales that want to go to a casino for the experience. The comps. When I would go to the Borgata and get a suite because they knew my ass was going to be in a blackjack seat at one of their many tables, and thousands of dollars were going to go back and forth. If I ended up with it, they were fine. If the dealer ended up with it, they were more fine. But I was treated like I was supposed to be treated as a customer spending and betting a lot of money in their establishment. They just don't see that anymore. It's astounding to think the mafia ran Vegas better than corporate America does. They knew how to run casinos. Even skimming off the top, they weren't losing 14% a year. The casino was making money, and they were making money. And the people that came in were treated like gold. And that was part of the allure. And that was what they knew they had to do to bring people back, whether it was a bad economy or not. The mafia knew what to do to make a casino successful. And these dummies don't even know what they're doing. Rose from the Sunshine State of Florida. What's up?
Oh, God, I hate to say that. Hi, Anthony, but boy, do I love you. I love you. And can I tell you something?
Adored.
I need to tell you something. I would marry you, but I'm sorry, I am married. Married.
Well, you know what? Maybe we'll both get lucky and your husband will drop dead.
Anthony, I don't know how old you are, but I need to tell you something. I worked in Washington. I have a lot to tell you. I'm going to be calling.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But now I'm in Florida. I get older. But you know what? Well, I shouldn't say.
No, that's okay.
Off.
Pissed off. That's all right. We're crazy.
I love your words. You are so real. You are so real.
Oh,
but
we try.
You know something?
Thank you, Rose.
No, you are the best.
Of course.
The best of radio.
It's crazy.
That's what I wanted to be. And I'm trying to do it down here. Not radio, but I've got a lot of things what I want to do down here in Florida.
A lot of irons in the fire, they call it. You got a lot of irons in the fire, Rose?
Here's my background. I worked for a big, large real estate company.
Yeah.
And in New York. And it was Corcoran. But I just want to go over that. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
No,
but
that's fine. That's fine. We'll bleep it out.
Yeah, thank you. But you know something? I know business, and you are so on freaking target. It's unbelievable. And I'm sitting here saying
I've learned something over the years, Rose. I've learned a few things over the years, so it's just experience. You know that, Rose. You sound extremely experienced.
Thank you. But I need to tell you something. I'm going to call in every time. I want you to be successful. And you should be
one of my regular callers.
No, you need to be successful. Can I tell you why? Because you have common sense. And you know what I taught at NYU?
My dad said
common sense. Here's what I taught at NYU. Aside from my job, I went at night and I had to teach at NYU. Common sense is genius and blue jeans. And guess what, Anthony? You got it.
I got it. Thank you. Hey, did you ever have a student named Stuttering John Melendez at NYU? He says he graduated from there, but we all think he's lying.
You're not telling me this. You're not telling me this. Okay.
Well, Rose, anything else? Because I'm going to get on to some other calls. I appreciate you, but we're doing a show here. Please do. Go ahead, Rose. Please.
I love you so much.
Go ahead, Rose.
But you did say I had a very big, beautiful 60th birthday. But now I'm going to become 75. Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Wait a minute. I decided to move down to Florida, but I'm doing theater. I'm doing a lot of politics, and I'm doing theater. But
theater?
Who?
Theater? You're doing theater?
And politics. And politics. But I have so much to share with you during our times on air. I am so proud of you.
Thank
and I love you,
Rose.
And
I love you too.
I am
yes,
so excited.
I am so excited. I just can't hide it. Anyway, Rose, thank you for calling.
We got to get down to the nitty-gritty.
Yes, the gritty, the nitty, all of it. I hear you, Rose. Thank you so much for calling, and I appreciate your
audience. Right? Your audience needs to know that you are real.
I am so real. It's crazy. You're right, Rose. Thank you, though. But I got to go. We will talk soon. Thank you, Rose. I appreciate Rose. Isn't that great? How did I get here? I was a shock jock. I was a shock jock. I was on the Opie and Anthony show. I used to put girls in 55-gallon drums. Now look at me. No, I appreciate that. I really do. Here's we're getting so many women callers. Susan. Hi, Susan. You're from upstate New York. How are you?
Well, I'm hanging in there, all things considered. Yeah, but I listened at the beginning of your show on and off all night. And you started talking about, trying to discuss matters of, what the country is going through to stop being a de facto bankrupt country. And that many people are basically very irrational. You played some clips of people and they're And, I've had to deal with some irrational people in my close circle. And their therapist told me that their beliefs were not founded in reality.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. So when you have an irrational person that you know to be, then you have to understand that you cannot reason with them.
Right. They're irrational.
And you may have to, help them get into a place where they won't hurt others or hurt themselves.
Susan? Susan?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Can I be honest?
I will.
Have you been drinking tonight?
No.
You're not a drop. Maybe brunch? Did you have a mimosa for brunch? Sunday. You're allowed.
No.
No shame.
I wish, but no, okay. I've been pretty busy all day.
All right. It sounded a little, maybe you're nervous. It just sounded a little like you'd been drinking.
No, maybe a little emotional.
Oh, a little emotional. Was that vodka?
No, just everything that's going on.
I know, Susan. Look, people are irrational, and you see it on social media when you see these protesters, and you can't argue with them. You can't discuss it with them. You got neighbors like that up there in upstate New York that don't, or are they pretty like-minded?
No. Not so much, because I'm in a very conservative 74% voted for Trump in my county now that I moved away from New York City. But just in general, I know that there's like such a division in the people that are, fighting just against Musk, trying to, keep us from going completely off the cliff where we wouldn't be able to have all these things being paid for.
Susan?
Yes, darling.
Spritzer? Maybe a wine spritzer? Noon? It was nice out today, right?
I know. I've never drank a spritzer.
Nothing like that. Not a spritzer, not a espresso with a little buca?
No, I'm a little wound up right now for a different reason.
Just me. Okay. Must be me.
Are you okay?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm dandy. I'm doing a radio show. It's crazy, right?
No, you really are. You're fun to listen to, especially on a Sunday night.
I know. Not much fun going on Sunday, but I appreciate it. I agree with you wholeheartedly. A lot of irrational people, and I appreciate your call, Susan. I got to move on, but thank you. Thank you, upstate New York. Have a shot from me. There goes Susan, who I absolutely think was drinking, but she did a good job. If I was a cop, I'd be like, all right, you're free to go. Who am I to say? And we'll take one more. Let me look. One more call from Mr. Billy. Billy's here in Vegas. I guess he wants to talk about what I just talked about in Vegas. Billy, what's up, my friend? All right? That's it sounds like a harmonica, but it might be one of those he smoked too much kazoos. I can't, my internet show. Oh boy, I would keep him on the line for 2-3 hours, but yeah, not so much. And then stock market. Paul from Queens. Look, the stock market took a big hit over the past couple of days. I think 3,300 points it dropped. A lot of blame being put on Trump and the tariffs. Let me see. Maybe Paul has some insight. Paul from Queens, what's up, man?
Anthony, I want to say first off, I used to drive for a living, and I used to listen to you from 2000 to 2008 in that area, and you were great. You made me sane when I was driving.
Thank you,
I think you
Paul.
were with Opie at the time.
Yes.
But my thing is this.
Show. Yes.
Before I was a driver, I worked in the stock market. I was down on Wall Street. And one thing I would say is this. The top two market crashes were, which actually three, because you got to count the 1929 stock market. But I was a sperm. I didn't hit my mom's embryo until like 1962.
Mom's embryo?
So, I was born. I was out of that one.
A little biology.
87 was the first largest stock
87.
market crash, they say.
We remember that.
That happened, and it's gone, and we're already at 40,000 points. So we had COVID, they said, was the second worst.
That was a bad one, sure.
Yeah, but that doubled the market because of Trump being in office. And Biden screwed it up because he blew up the balloons, inflated the market, and that's what happened. But
Paul,
I think
I think what you're trying to say here is it's a great buy opportunity, right?
But no, we didn't. The market's still going to go up. It may go down, but it will go up. So I'm not too concerned about that.
That's kind of what I just said. But thank you, Paul. No, you're great, Paul. Queens, I love Queens. I love New York. I'm going to be there next week. Paul, thank you for the call. Anytime I try to talk about the stock market, I should learn. I should learn my lesson. The tariffs. It's the stock market and your goddamn tariffs. So, don't worry about it so much. There's a little pain in everything. And this is a little pain. Nothing gets fixed without any bad thing. If things could get fixed by politicians without anything bad happening, they'd fix everything. But it doesn't get fixed because they don't want to have to say, yeah, it might sting at first. This could sting a little, but it's for the greater good. In a little while, things are going to be much better. And I'm holding fast to that one. Buy. In my humble opinion, I am not an investment company. So it's just my humble opinion is that it's a pretty good buy opportunity. And we will be back in a matter of seconds. Don't go anywhere. Anthony Cumia Show.
77 WABC.
Oh, yeah. Anthony Cumia Show. Man, these shows whip on by, don't they? My goodness. I do want to acknowledge the death of an actor recently. I mean, we all know his amazing work. Handsome, boyish, good looks, blonde hair. Yes, Jay North, who played Dennis the Menace, is dead. He died, I guess, this evening. Colon cancer, which is fitting, seeing that he was a pain in Mr. Wilson's ass for so many years. Yes, Dennis the Menace is dead. We move on, of course. We were talking about what's that? Oh, is that we're almost done? Oh, right. Okay. Dominic Carter is coming up. My God, man. Look at what WABC is doing. Bringing Dominic Carter on. What's Dominic talking about tonight? Do I hear Dominic? Hello? Thought we were doing a crossover. Yeah. All right. Well, shouldn't I just do my show? Why'd you keep going? I'm hearing a voice in my ear. It's like, what? Doing a crossover? All right. Yeah, I wanted to talk. Oh, boy. We'll fix it. We'll fix it in the mix. Don't worry, people. Where's that friggin' thing I had just before? Yeah, by the way, the tariffs and everything. Taiwan has already agreed to drop all tariffs on the United States, joining India, Israel, Vietnam, and Cambodia, who also intend to zero out their tariffs. So, everyone thinks the tariffs are just there and they're never going away. And it's just like, oh, no, turmoil, the stock market, they hate us. It's like it's meant to make the other country capitulate. They are harmed way more financially with American tariffs than we are by them, by anything they do. Let's be real. People think we put in tariffs, it affects us. Our market goes down, our prices go up, and we scream and everyone yells and gets mad at Trump. And then the other countries are just like, look at them suffer. No, they are suffering 10 times worse by not having our goods and services and having tariffs put on their goods and services. It's a ploy. It's a bargaining chip, a tactic. He doesn't put tariffs in place to go, well, there it is forever and ever. Those are our tariffs. Gotta love a good tariff. It ends because the other countries go, oh my God, we can't take this anymore. So relax. Bye. Yeah. Don't worry so much about that nonsense. All right. Good. All right. I guess we could take another call. Let's go. Oh, look at this. It's Michael. Talk to Michael. Michael, what's up, man? Yo, Michael Rockland.
Listen, never heard you before.
Oh,
I love you. You're me.
Day one, and I'm you.
I think. Huh?
Isn't that crazy? Day one, and I'm you already. You listen to me one show, and you go, this guy is saying what I'm thinking.
Exactly.
I love it. Very good.
I love it too. Keep
Thank
doing
you,
a good job.
Michael. Where you're from Rockland. How old a gentleman are you, if I may survey?
I'm over 60.
Okay. Well, who isn't these days? Well, I get it. All right, Michael. Thank you, man. I appreciate the call. That's pretty good. Here's Matt. Matt from the Bronx. Matt, what's up, my friend?
Hey, good evening, Anthony. Hope you're doing well.
Good evening. I'm doing very well. I appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, terrific. So I know we don't have a lot of time, but I wanted to point your direction to a great book on the immigration question. It's called The Culture of Critique by Dr. Kevin McDonald.
I have heard of that.
Yeah. Okay. So great. So basically, I'd really highly recommend it to anybody who wants to understand how we got to this situation, starting with the 1965 Immigration Act that was passed during the Johnson administration.
A lot of things happened by Johnson in the mid 60s that screwed this country. But enough said. Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. So, really, Chuck Schumer was really being disingenuous when he said that the Great Replacement is simply a conspiracy theory. Listen, the Great Replacement is all over in front of you every time you walk down the street. When you look at MS-13 out on Long Island in the suburbs, decapitating American teenage girls in a public park, that's not a conspiracy theory. Again, it's literally in everybody's backyard. It's no longer the border states. It's in every state of the union. The Democrats and the liberals, starting in 1965, turned this country upside down and inside out with massive third world immigration.
Yeah,
and again, it will be
plan.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it was part of the plan. It's exactly what you're saying. Like, people want to make it sound like a conspiracy theory because then you're crazy for believing it. He believes in flying saucers and the Loch Ness Monster and that immigrants were purposefully brought into this country to undermine American values and the electoral system and everything. But it's not. That's true. That's real. It's not a conspiracy.
Sure. And again, it's going to be the death of this country and every other European majority country if something is not done to avert it. And again, I know we don't have a lot of time. Really, find that book in the audience, The Cultural Critique by Dr. Kevin McDonald. You had to find out how we got to this situation in order to solve it.
Cool, Matt.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Here goes Matt. Where's Matt? There's one more thing maybe we can get to real quick. I know we only have a minute here about. We're going to have to wait on that. I'm going to be on Dominic Carter's show. A quick little crossover, as I was talking about before, because Dominic's coming on after my show here on Sundays on WABC New York. So we're gonna see what he's talking about, see what he's about, man. Other than that, what a fun-filled show. Don't forget, next week on this show, Sunday night, 8 p.m., Jim Norton. I did a show with Jim Norton for many, many years. I adore the man, and it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun talking with the little Jimmy. So join us next week. Until then, arrivederci, everybody. Anthony Cumia Show. Thanks for listening.